Jon Snow drives a dagger into the woman he loves, through the heart, in front of her own dragon. We call that a hero's choice. The last honorable man in Westeros, doing the hardest thing so the realm could survive. I believe that too, for years. But rewind past the finale. Look at the years before it. A different picture forms. Every disaster in Jon's story traces back to him, a choice he made while believing he was the good guy. The wall falls under his watch. An entire Wildling army gets slaughtered because of a call only he could make. Robb Stark's war quietly ends because of him. Every time, someone else pays. Jon keeps his reputation as the noble one. So here's the question that stopped me cold. What if the real villain of Game of Thrones was never Cersei, never Ramsay, not even Daenerys? What if it was the one man we were all rooting for? Walk with me through this. Tell me if you still see him the same by the end. Every story needs a moral compass. In Game of Thrones, that's Jon Snow, the bastard raised as an outsider, handed the harder, nobler choice every time, and he takes it, even when it costs him everything. He takes the black because a bastard can't inherit anything back home. He lets the wildlings through the wall because the dead are the real enemy, not the living. It gets him murdered by his own brothers. He comes back from death. Instead of revenge, he executes the boy who stabbed him and spares the ones who didn't understand. He bends the knee to a queen with dragons because saving the realm matters more than wearing a crown. On paper, that's not a villain's record. That's a saint's. For 8 seasons, the show sells you exactly that. Jon Snow, the one honest man left in a world built on lies. If you're new here, I take a character everyone thinks they figured out and turn him over until you see the side nobody talks about. Subscribe if that's your kind of rabbit hole. Drop a comment with a character you think I'm dead wrong about. By the end of this, Jon Snow looks very different. Let's define tragic villain. It isn't the same as evil. A regular villain wants power or pain and takes it by hurting people on purpose. A tragic villain wants to do the right thing so badly he can't see the wreckage it leaves behind. By the time he does, it's too late. Watch the first time Jon makes the merciful call. Thousands of wildlings are freezing on the far side of the wall. Jon decides the humane thing is to let them through, arm them, give them land. Good instinct, but his own men don't see refugees. They see the enemy their fathers died fighting for 1,000 years walking through the gate on Jon's orders. Within days, that one act of compassion becomes a full mutiny. Jon is stabbed to death by his own brothers, boys he trained, men who served beside him. He gets resurrected, but only after his right thing gets him killed and forces him to execute those same brothers, including a child, just to restore order. That's not heroism sitting under the surface. That's a body count wearing virtue as a disguise. The pattern doesn't stop at the wall. Battle of the Bastards, the fight everyone remembers as Jon's finest hour. Ramsay Bolton holds Winterfell. Jon rides out with an army built mostly of wildlings who already trusted him once and paid for it. Ramsay baits him. The second Jon sees his little brother Rickon shot down in the open field, he charges alone straight into a wall of spears. That one reckless decision nearly wiped out his entire army. Sansa's reinforcements from the Vale save everyone, last possible second. Jon didn't win that battle. Sansa did. The show barely lets her take credit for it. Then the North crowns him king, a title built on other men's graves. What does Jon do with it? He sails south, kneels in front of a foreign queen with dragons, hands the crown right back, without asking a single lord who bled to give it to him. Sansa's face in that scene says everything the writers won't say out loud. Every noble decision Jon makes costs somebody else something enormous, and he never notices the bill until it's already paid. Now, here's the domino that blows the whole story apart. Nobody slows down to look at this one. Bran and Sam figure out Jon isn't a bastard. He's Aegon Targaryen, true-born son of Rhaegar and Lyanna Stark, a real claim to the Iron Throne. stronger than the woman he's sleeping with. Jon could have sat on that secret. Sam basically tells him to. Instead, because Jon can't function unless everyone has the full truth, he tells Daenerys himself, then Sansa, then Arya, makes him swear to keep it quiet. Sansa breaks that promise almost immediately. She doesn't trust Daenerys, tells Tyrion. Tyrion tells Varys. Now, the one secret that could unravel Daenerys' entire claim to power sits in the hands of the people closest to her. Varys starts weighing whether to replace her before she's done anything wrong at all. She finds out, burns him alive for it. That's not a side plot. That's the exact moment her isolation turns fatal, and it traces straight back to one man who couldn't keep a secret, because keeping it felt dishonest. Here's where the theory stops being theoretical. Everything I just laid out is the reason the worst atrocity in the entire show happens at all. King's Landing rings its bells, the universal signal for surrender. Cersei's army throws down its weapons. The city is done fighting. Daenerys, the queen Jon helped legitimize by handing away his own crown, keeps burning it anyway. Soldiers, civilians, children, all of it. Jon watches from the ground, frozen, realizing in real time that the isolation his own honesty helped create just turned into a massacre. Tyrion loses his brother and sister in that same rubble. When he corners Jon afterward, he doesn't ask him to be angry. He asks a colder question. Is a woman who thinks burning a surrendering city is mercy ever going to stop doing that on her own? Jon doesn't have an answer. The truth is unbearable. He helped legitimize the throne she's now using to justify slaughter. And he's the only person left with a claim strong enough and a sword close enough to stop her. If you were standing where Jon stood, knowing everything you helped set in motion, could you have made a different choice? Or was this always where it ended up? Drop a comment. Tell me honestly. So here's the ending everyone remembers. The dagger in the throne room. But look at what leads up to it. Daenerys isn't just talking about the past in that scene. She's laying out a future. Kingdom after kingdom, liberated. Anyone who resists gets treated exactly like King's Landing did. She tells Jon she loves him, asks him to stand beside her while she does it. And Jon, the man who spent this entire series trying to do the honorable thing, decides the only honorable option left is to kill the woman he loves before she becomes something worse than anything they fought together. He kisses her and stabs her through the heart. Dragon doesn't kill him for it. Instead, the dragon melts the Iron Throne down to slag, the literal seat that started every war in this story, then flies off carrying her body. Grey Worm wants Jon executed on the spot, understandably. Here's the part that matters. The lords deciding what happens to him next aren't doing it out of forgiveness. Exile beyond the wall is the only sentence messy enough to satisfy everyone a little, and no one completely. Now, if you're sitting there thinking, hold on, Jon never wanted any of this, that's exactly the point. And it's exactly why the label fits him better than anyone else in this show. Cersei wanted the throne and blew up a building full of people to keep it. Littlefinger wanted power and engineered an entire war to get it. Those are villains by intention. Jon never once asks for a crown. He turns one down as a bastard commander of the Watch, gets handed one as king in the North, and gives it away within weeks. He has more legal right on the Iron Throne than almost anyone left alive after he kills the woman sitting on it, and he never even reaches for it. That's not innocence. That's the tragedy. A tragic villain in the classic sense, going back to Greek drama, isn't someone corrupted by ambition. It's someone whose one unbendable virtue becomes the exact thing that destroys everyone around him. For Jon, that virtue is honesty and mercy, applied without any regard for timing or consequence. He tells the truth when silence would have saved lives. He shows mercy to enemies who go on to create new victims. Every version of Jon Snow doing the right thing detonates somewhere down the line. So here's the saddest part. It took me the longest to sit with. Jon Snow ends the show exactly where he started, standing outside a wall, unwanted by the world he tried so hard to save. Except the first time, it was his birth that made him an outsider. This time, it's every choice he made trying to do right by everyone else. He loses Ygritte the moment he chooses his vows over her. He loses his own life trusting the Wildlings. He loses Daenerys because loving her honestly meant telling her a truth that eventually broke her. He loses the crown the North gave him because keeping it felt selfish next to stopping the dead. By the end, the only creature Jon can be fully himself around is a direwolf, one who never asked him to choose between two impossible things. When he finally rides north with the free folk, past the wall, past every kingdom that used him up, it isn't really an exile. It's the only place left on the map where his kind of goodness can't hurt anyone else. That's not a hero's ending. That's what happens to a tragic villain once the story runs out of people for him to accidentally destroy. So I'll leave you with the question I asked myself. If a villain is just someone whose choices leave a trail of destruction, does it matter whether he meant to do it? Jon Snow never lied for personal gain, never wanted a throne, never hurt anyone out of cruelty. And somehow, thousands of people end up dead because of decisions he made with a clear conscience every single time. Maybe that's worse than Cersei. Cersei at least knew exactly what she was. Jon walked through this entire story convinced he was the good one. He probably was, and it still didn't save a single person standing near him. That's the part of this show nobody talks about enough, because it's uncomfortable. Good intentions don't come with a warning label. Tell me where you land on this, genuinely. I want to know if you're rewatching seasons 7 and 8 differently now. If this kind of breakdown is your thing, subscribe. There's another character coming next who everyone thinks they've already figured out. They haven't.